Our boy Dave Rubin gave us quite a few high-level ideas here that I want to share with you. This is glorious. So this was originally from the Dave Rubin Clips Twitter account. And then also I have some other headlines that I want to share with you before we wrap up this segment. But let's start with Dave and all of his high-level ideas.
You know, it's interesting because, as you know, we just had Justin a couple of weeks ago, and we've got baby number two on the way. But we did the bris at 8 days. And
so a bris, for those of you who don't know, is a ceremony where you circumcise the baby. In other words, in layman's terms, it's a ceremony where you chop off the tip of your baby's dick. That's what it is. Now, you know, some might take issue with that framing. If they do take issue with it, they are incorrect. They are wrong, because that is objectively what we're talking about here.
And, you know, if you look at it from a purely secular point of view, it's somewhat of a crazy thing to do.
Correct. It is not somewhat of a crazy thing to do. It is a crazy thing to do. It's not up in the air. It's not, well, maybe. No. It is crazy.
Bring this perfect thing into the world, and then you're cutting this child. That's what you're doing. And I remember David and I had this talk before about, you know, our thoughts on everything. And my overriding feeling about it was that my parents did it, their parents did it, their parents' parents did it, and way beyond that, for something like 5,783 years.
3,000. Well, really.
Classic Dave Rubin moment. Actually, you're not even close. But anyway.
3,200.
Yes.
Yeah, or 4,000. Actually,
4,000. Right, the calendar, but we go back to Abraham. Okay. But the point is that it's been done for a long, long time. And
So they're admitting here, and this is honest, I don't think they know exactly what they're admitting to, but they're admitting that the roots of it are ancient and religious. So in other words, it's not some like scientific thing that they proved we should do because you got a whole bunch of people in white coats in a lab crunching numbers and looking through No, it's religious in nature.
I felt am I just wiser than everyone that came before me?
Well, you're definitely not wiser than everybody that came before you, but if on this particular issue you decided, it seems kind of crazy to chop off the tip of my baby's dick, so I'm not going to do it, on that issue you would have been wiser. Your original skepticism was merited, Mr. Rubin.
Oh, God bless you. Oh, that's so the perfect reaction.
It's the perfect reaction. Look at these guys are flat out, they're just tradition humpers. That's what it is. Well, like a lot of people before me did it, well, I'm going to do it. How is that a convincing point to you? People have been doing all sorts of idiotic shit for thousands of years. The idea that was like the game changer in their mind, like, well, I don't know, man, my mom did it. My mom's mom did it. My mom's mom's mom did it. So, like, you know, fuck. Who the fuck am I? Jesus Christ. Okay, by this logic, what about female genital mutilation? There are places in the world that they've done that for thousands of years. They've done that for at least a couple generations in some places. What about child sacrifice, which was a very common human practice for a very long time? What about rain dances, which I'm sure used to be incredibly common? Hey man, my dad did it, my dad's dad did it. Well, in this case, that wouldn't be your dad and your dad's dad. That would be like your great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, right? And then your great-great-great-great-great-grandfather, so on and so forth, right? But hey, they did that for a while, so if they did it, good enough for me, why wouldn't I do it? What, do I think I'm just smarter than these people? Yes! The more time goes by, the more information we have available, the more data that's available, the more able we are to embrace empiricism in decision-making. But he just swaps that all aside. And look, this is the most conservative instinct. Tradition for tradition's sake. So there doesn't have to be any other compelling argument to continue a tradition. Just the fact that it's a tradition, they're like, okay, that works. Well, what about places where there's a tradition to keep women covered up? This is something that Dave Rubin and Dennis Prager argue against, and they, oh my God, this is terrible. This is backwards Muslims in Islamic countries. And they look at it and like, well, what the fuck? Come to modernity, bitch. What are you talking about? Don't cover up your women. What if she doesn't want to be covered? Just because it's a tradition, who gives a fuck? Now all of a sudden it's, tradition. Tradition makes perfect sense as a reason to want to mutilate my baby's penis. Jesus fucking Christ.
And that's what they believe.
They think they are.
Leftists believe they are the best people who ever lived.
Oh my God. Oh my God. As these guys are sucking themselves off for genitally mutilating babies, they say, but look at the hubris of the lefties. What the fuck, man? I don't know why these guys pretend like they're not totally arrogant and convinced in 100% of their ideology and the things that they say. They give off way more certitude than anybody I've ever seen on the left. Oh, these lefties think they're God's gift to earth. Well, I will say this for sure. If there is somebody on the left who decides, hey, I don't want to genitally mutilate my baby, so I won't do that, on that particular issue, they are way above and beyond what you guys have done with your line of reasoning for doing what you did.
They do. That's why they tear down Lincoln and Washington. We are better than them. They don't hold a candle to these people. By the way, I just want you to know I have two sons, as you'll have, God willing, and I had I don't cry easily, and I was with the two times I most remember sobbing was at their bris, at their circumcision, exactly for what you said. Holy crow. This goes back 4,000 years.
Oh my God. It would be one thing if you were crying because you feel terrible because of the shrieks and the cries and the pain that your baby's in. Like, oh my God, what are you doing? Oh, my poor baby. My baby's crying. My baby's bleeding. Oh my God, this is terrible. And if you're crying for that reason, you are correct to react that way. But if you're crying because it's so beautiful when we genitally mutilate little boys' penises. What the fuck is wrong with you, bro? But my tradition. Fuck your tradition. You almost couldn't come up with a more cruel example of a tradition that is so deleterious because it still exists primarily just for tradition's sake, and it is one of the worst things you could do, right? It really is. It really is. And the argument they make now, all these like scientific rationalizations and justifications after the fact are so weak. Because I'm sure you've all heard, oh, well, you know, it sort of like limits the spread of STDs and stuff, bro. Okay, well, I have a way you can eliminate STDs. You want to guarantee you're not going to have an STD? You want to lower the number of STDs by like double or triple what you lower it by just from circumcising? Here, you ready? Totally castrate your baby. Don't just mutilate the tip of their dick. Take off their dick and their balls. Just get rid of it. Get rid of everything. Man, you are really protecting against STDs if you don't have a penis, right? Now, should you do that? My guess is everybody listening goes, why? What the? No, of course not. Why would I do that? Well, don't you want to limit the STDs? It's not. It's a terrible argument, and again, these are the more modern arguments, the ones that like they come up with the scientific rationalization and justification as to, oh, actually, no, this is a good thing. You don't even understand, bro. No, it is definitely not. It is definitely not a good thing. And by the way, this comes from somebody, of course, who is circumcised. I was circumcised, but I understand it was fucking genital mutilation. I was genitally mutilated as a baby.
I'm not prepared to end it.
It just felt crazy to me. Like, no, I just know so much. I just know so much. I won't do this thing. The people before me were so dumb. It's almost grotesque in a bizarre.
Yeah, no, totally. It's so grotesque. You know, hey, my ancestors used snake oil to try to cure cancer. So I'd be such a bad person if I didn't try to rub snake oil over my cancer. What kind of idiot? This is a new low for Dave Rubin. This is a new fucking low. And this guy's always been fucking beyond God, right? But Jesus Christ, man.
Sense to think that way.
All right. Well, there you go. Wow. Imagine watching this and thinking they're nailing it. Oh, man. Insane. Anyway, before we head out, let me just give you a little bit more here. So, Diamond and Silk gave us quite a moment I wanted to share with you.
that your best bet is to vote for Herschel Walker. Okay?
That's
Forget
right.
what you done heard. That is distractions.
Right.
That's when President Trump was running. Remember all of the distractions.
I remember all of the
distractions.
He
said he gonna grab him by this. And we was like, well, I'm so happy he grabbing somebody by the P instead of the D.
By the D.
Come on, man. Oh, man. Holy shit. They are fucking hilarious, don't lie. They know. They have to know, right? They know the role they're playing. They're not fucking like they're like they're way smarter than they are pretending they are. And they know like shit, we can cash some nice ass checks if we just tell these Republicans whatever the fuck they want to hear. What a line, man. We was happy they was grabbing him by the P and not the D. In other words, is he a sexual assaulter? Sure, that's fine. At least he's not gay. Oh, man, holy shit. Look at that moral code right there. So it is better to be a sexual assaulter as long as you're straight than not be a sexual assaulter and be gay. Holy shit. I don't know, guys. You're that's a little extreme. I'd say that's just a little extreme there. And by the way, the real operative part of that story, very few people actually highlighted, which is, he said, I grabbed him by the pussy, and then he said, quote, I don't even wait. So I don't even wait sounds to me like, you're not waiting for consent. You're not waiting for some sort of, situation to naturally unfold where both sides are willing participants. You just, go up and grab them by the pussy. So that was the problem with that. Because if he was like, hey, I grabbed women by the pussy, but it was consensual, it's like, okay, fine, that's, have fun. But it didn't seem like it was. But then he did go on to say, they just let you do it. Well, if you don't even wait and you just do it, then how do you know they're letting you do it? Like, there'd be no indication of consent, right? So that was the problem. But here's where we are, man. And they're talking, of course, about Herschel Walker. The story about Herschel Walker is, even though he says he's against abortion in every case, no exception for rape, for incest, or life of the mother. Against it in every single case. He says it's murder. The woman should be punished. The doctor should be punished. Maybe get jail time. And he, of course, funded an abortion in 2009. So, he facilitated a murder. The woman he slept with is a murderer. The doctor is a murderer. And by his own logic, all that would be illegal. He'd have to lock everybody up. And by the way, we just learned today that the woman who came out and gave this story is one of his baby mamas. So in other words, she has another kid with him. But they decided at one point to abort a different time when she was pregnant. So, Jesus Christ, man. Jesus Christ. So what they're saying is, I don't actually have a standard. I don't have a standard. Because if you think he's a murderer or he paid for a murder, that's, holy shit, you should be apoplectic about that, but they're not. They're not. Because to them, what they understand that the left usually doesn't is that it's all about power. They say, look, ultimately, I don't care what he did in his personal life as long as he will vote against abortion when he's in there, then I don't care. You could have aborted 20 kids, but since you're going to vote against abortion when you're in the Senate, it's fine because the net good you're doing outweighs the bad you're doing. That's how they think about it, right? It's like it's a raw calculation like that. But there's certainly no principles involved here, that's for sure. And then we also have this. A day after Elon Musk announced his intention to buy Twitter, after all, and avert a trial, a private equity firm set to finance part of the deal has reportedly backed out. So he's losing some of the money that he needed in order to make the Twitter purchase. I don't know what happens from here. And then also, Herschel Walker is doing damage control, and he's doing a very poor job at it.
As everyone knows, I had a real battle with mental health. Even wrote a book about it. And by the grace of God, I've overcome it.
All right, so I think he's doing this because he's trying to get ahead of future stories. Because he's afraid, I think, Christian Walker is going to tell some of the stories of physical abuse that his dad was involved in. Because Christian hinted at that when he did his videos and his tweets responding to his dad, because basically saying, like, I'm done with your lies. You just lie all the time. You lie relentlessly. At least tell the truth. You told me at the beginning of this thing you were going to tell the truth, get ahead of your past. You didn't do that, so now I'm here to tell you it's all a fraud. Tell the fucking truth. This is what Christian said. And in one of those rants, he said, I haven't told any stories. And he's, the implication is, I could tell stories. And he says something about, the physical abuse that this guy did to him and his mother, to Christian and his mother. And so now Herschel's doing this thing, I had mental illness. What are you trying to get ahead of now?
Warnock's a preacher who doesn't tell the truth.
Warnock doesn't tell the truth. Warnock doesn't tell the truth. What about you? What about you? You just lied shamelessly in front of the world when there were all the receipts under the sun for the fact that you paid for that 2009 abortion. You just lied about it. Your own son is like, Jesus Christ, you fucking lied about it. And he was on your side. He wanted you to win the race. And he's like, stop fucking lying. And are you saying Warnock's a liar? Oh, please, my ass cheeks.
He doesn't even believe in redemption. I'm Herschel Walker, saved by grace.
The old Christian
Is it?
trick, baby. Oh, God is with me. God loves me, bro. I've turned myself over to God, so anything I've ever done ever, just don't pay attention to it. All right. Well, there you go. That's what's going on. This stuff is ugly.